What up, though, One Pride? This is the Roar of the Lions UK podcast, a podcast where one pride goes worldwide. My name is Antony Fitzpatrick. I'm joined this evening by Ryan McCluskey, which can only mean one thing. Yes, it is time for your weekly dose of college knowledge. Yes, it is the college football podcast, all along the Watchtower. And we are, Ryan, now 23 days away from the college football season. We get Detroit Lions football back tomorrow. We get soccer back on Saturday. We are officially coming out of the dark ages now into one of our favorite parts of the year, where it all begins.
Yeah, back in full season. Like I say, CFL's a month in. Yeah, we've got British football back this weekend. We've got the Hall of Fame game tomorrow. T minus 23 days, like some till week zero of college football. It's time to go down the rabbit hole again.
Seem to be seeing more highlights from the CFL than usual this year. I don't know whether they're just promoting it a bit more, but it
It's
seems
been
like
a
there's a
fun
lot of
first
fun.
6 weeks. It's a wide open season. There's
Yeah.
only one. I mean, kind of like say one, two bad teams. Like I said, yeah, it's very much. It's been very interesting this year.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll have to take a dig into it at some point, but that is not why we are here today. So, as we mentioned, there is just 3 weeks to go until the new college football season comes, and it is that time of year where we're going to start doing the juicy content. And over the last couple of weeks, we've taken a look at Phil Steele's all-season conference teams for the Power Four, and then the Group of Five, highlighting players, position groups, all that good stuff we like from what he's picked there. Now, it's mine and Ryan's turn. This is the part of year where we put our teams forward to you, where we pick the players that we really do like and we really think you should watch as the season goes on, and we present them to you, talk a little bit about them. But yeah, these are the guys we're back. A lot of these guys will end up in our mock drafts, and you'll hear about them a lot as the season goes on. And sneak preview, I've seen some of Ryan's list, and he has worked. I've got more players, but he's worked harder to find his players. I damn well know that. So it's going to be a good show. So yeah, that's going to be the main thing for us. Let's just get all the housekeeping out of the way. It is a recorded show today. It's one of those where I am again using a chart and everything to try and keep you guys up to date with all these names, and trying to do it live is a pain in the neck. So just for now, we're recording the show so I can have these nice charts up, show you all the names, and then eventually we'll get it together in one nice combo where we can be live and do it. But as always, I'll be in the chat, so if you have any questions, whack them in there. I will converse as the night goes on. Road Lions UK Discord, if you want in, let us know. We'll fire you across a link to that. Don't forget to like and sub to everything YouTube, Twitch, all that good stuff. We really appreciate you and the support there. The main Detroit Lions podcast from us, we had a little look at training camp the week just gone. So if you've not checked that out so far, please go and do so. We're part of Lions Nation Unite, so if you would like to support that project as well for us, because we're working really hard to get that thing up and off the ground. And don't forget, we are monetized and all that good stuff. So if you want to help us that way, then really appreciate you for that. But first and foremost, we love having you all in the building, chatting ball with us. So that is everything out of the way. A couple of quick bits of news we're going to very quickly go through before we go into the main bit. Germany, Ryan, is going to get a college football game in a couple of years' time, and it's the Michigan Wolverines who are going to be coming over next year, 2026, and it's going to be a Michigan derby, as we say over here. The poor Western Michigan Broncos are getting fed to the German public to be eaten alive by the Wolverines. I mean, it's going to be good that we're going to get college ball over here. You maybe probably would have liked something that's going to be a little bit more competitive. No offense to Western Michigan, but assume they're going to get steamrolled in that one. But hopefully it's the start of something where more college ball starts coming over. So we've got Ireland, we've got Germany, maybe some more chances to go and watch this. But not going to be the creme de la creme of action, maybe, for the Germans to start with, but it's happening and it's Michigan, so step forward.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I said, I'd love to know how they came to terms with this matchup, how they settled on it. But yeah, as a neutral, it's not going to be a humdinger of a classic now. It's going to be fairly one-sided, even on its worst day. But a lot of GFL games are, like say, even at the top level, they're used to a lot of one-sided blowouts, so it's nothing to them. But yeah, Germany is a football crazy country. I've been there. I've watched their national bowl game. Like I say, it was huge. They are just crazy football, so they will lap it up. They will easily sell 30, 40,000 if you put it in the right stadium. And those those American fans with nose aren't too put out that are not pissing in the Cheerios. Then, let's say some of them are going to leave the country for the first time. This is the way of trying to get more Americans to actually get a passport and leave your country. Like I say, we're going to take things you love away from you, so you have to go away and watch it. But yeah, I think it should make the most of it because it will probably be Munich or Dusseldorf or Frankfurt where the major stadiums are, and they're all famous. They're all great places to go. Yeah, so we'll be interested. It's interesting to see. Like I say, everyone, like I say, loves the idea of Dublin. It kind of feels like the NFL international markets are probably going to start to branch out college football as NIL deals with schools giving money to players directly now. This is going to be another income revenue stream for teams that want to play abroad because they can probably charge a good amount of money to the local German council for having us. So yeah, if it all goes ahead and it goes well, then this is the future.
Yeah.
Spain, Germany, France, Australia, like yeah. You think we get up at funny hours, you're gonna be getting up at even more funny hours to watch your beloved teams in the future, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And case in point, if, college football you want to send, UConn or NC State over to Sheffield here in the UK, I'm quite happy for you to do that. We've got some big stadiums here. We'll be able to accommodate those. I would love to see that. But I think
Dublin's good. It feels like
it's
Scotland or someone will
mm,
get a college football game in a couple of years, another England
yeah.
game.
I believe the Germany game is going to be in Cologne, or Cologne. Does it say Cologne? I say Cologne, but it's Cologne, where FC Cologne play. So it's
Great stadium. Yeah.
banging stadium. Is it the Rhine Energy? I'm going to get
Yeah,
the Germans all angry here,
it is,
so
yeah.
let's not try and insult as many cultures as we can at the start of this show. But yeah, Western Michigan and Michigan coming over next year. If any Wolverines fans are going to make the trip over, do let us know here at the Roar Lines UK, because we may be there. Who knows? If college football starts getting big over here. Who knows? We're going to try and position ourselves as one of the foremost college football podcasts over here. Maybe we'll get credentialed. I mean, long shot, but we'll try our best. And then the other little quick bit of news I wanted to mention, it's to do with realignment. And there's been a very interesting comment out of UNC's AD this week saying that they may be looking at the door out of the ACC. Obviously, we've had all the stuff with Clemson and Florida State, but he specifically mentioned the SEC as a landing destination for the Tar Heels. And there's me, Ryan, thinking, maybe not a good idea. You can't compete in the ACC at the moment. Lord knows what you're going to be like if you go to the SEC. You're going to be down there with the Vanderbilts and Miss States of the world. I don't know if the programs do you could UNC go to the SEC and thrive? I do not. I know it's a big program. They've got a lot of fans, but it just doesn't feel like they've got the gravitas or the backbone to be able to deal with all those. It would seem odd they would leave at the minute in time when they can't compete in the ACC.
It's one of those where I try to separate the brand from the football. The Jordan UNC brand is big. Like I say, it's a big fan base. It's a passionate fan base. It's a vocal fan base, especially in the SEC. But right now, yeah, they can't compete in the ACC. They've gone out there and tried to put a plaster on a gaping wound that is Bill Belichick, which I'm still convinced will backfire. And like I say, we'll be looking at this in 20 months like, well, that was an expensive disaster. No, there's no chance anytime soon in the next 3, 4, 5 years that they would be competitive in the SEC. Purely for financial gain and like I said, recognition and TV money. They will benefit off the field? Absolutely. Will it help them on the field? Probably not, no.
No, because then
And it will be very hard because we've just seen a lengthy legal dispute, like I say, with Clemson and FSU, and it didn't end well for them, did it? They
no,
did not pay extortionate amounts of money for trying to leave.
I think you're too early into the TV deal at the moment. Like the longer, the less the TV deal has to go, and the less money there is. I think that works out. I'm not, but
It's
the
getting
buyouts are
harder and
huge.
harder now for Power Four teams to move around.
Yeah,
G5 teams, like I say, it's no bother.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the SEC probably buy them out if they wanted to, but I don't know. My initial gut feeling with
UNC
this
is going to
is
go anywhere, then maybe go to the new Pac-12.
I'll go up to the Big Ten. I know it's the Carolinas and that, but try and work your way in there maybe. Just I don't know. It seems an odd one. I think they should stay where they are for now. They should focus on getting competitive again because they've been uncompetitive for a few years now. And get your football program right. If it goes right with Bill, maybe you do. But for now, I don't think you do. But yeah, UNC just rumblings right now. But they've said that maybe the door is open to them leaving the ACC and with the SEC a preferred destination.
If
So
anyone's
always
joining the
will.
Big Ten or an SEC as a high profile, it's going to be Notre Dame
Oh
before
yeah.
anyone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Bigger brand, bigger appeal. Everybody wants them, so we'll see if that
They would
fight.
be competitive straight away in the Big Ten. I
Yeah,
would love to see them there.
I would love to see Notre Dame in the Big Ten as well. Like you've got Indiana, Michigan, Ohio State, Northwestern's in there. You just got a lot of interstate rivalry, a lot of big rivalries, a lot of veteran rivalries. You've got the USC one there as well. So yeah, but anywho, that is the latest on alignment for now. Don't think anything else has happened, but knowing the way this goes on, it probably could have. Anywho, they're the only two bits of news I really wanted to mention today because we've got one big thing to go through today. So as we mentioned, every year just before the season begins, me and Ryan publish um our pre-season watch list teams. So basically these are the guys that we really like to watch play football. Like, we talk about a lot of guys as the season goes on, we talk about position groups, etc. But these individually are the guys who stand head and shoulders above for whatever reason. Some of them might be draft prospects this year, some of them might be young guys. There is a whole variation from the FCS, the Group of Five, the Power Four. But, a lot of these, and we do pretty well sometimes with a lot of these guys. A lot of them will get big promotions to bigger teams, or they'll come up to the draft. And yeah, we've gotten pretty good at this now. So this will be the third year we're doing it. So yeah, basically we just put together a team of guys, and we let you know about them, tell you them a bit more in detail, and then yeah, give you some more names to watch out for this year, and then you can hold us accountable if they do well or don't do so well. So. I've put together sort of a 22-man team as you would do for like an up pre-season type team. Ryan has picked out about 12 or 13 guys from different positions. So we're going to do it through positions. We're going to go down and we'll do the reveal on the board as we go as well. So you can keep updated as to who the players are and roughly when in the show we're chatting about them. So I think we're all good and ready to go. So I'm going to do the screen sharing stuff again, did the other week. So hopefully this all works and you can all see it. So let us just go on to that. Where are we? We are in here. We want to share this one. So hopefully now on the screen you should be able to see this nice little Excel spreadsheet thing I've got up here. So it's got mine and Ryan's names on there, and then our teams are hidden below, and you can see the positions on both sides. So I got mine there, Ryan's are there. So yeah, we're just going to reveal these guys and go on bit by bit. So without further ado, let's crack on with this. I'll start off on my side and then we'll move over to Ryan and we'll run snake depending on how many guys we've got. So at quarterback for me this year on my preseason to watch this team, you're probably going to be able to guess this. Probably going to be the easiest one of this list to guess for me. But of course, it is
Yeah,
Rocco
yeah.
Becht of Iowa State. Yeah, anyone would know. I probably can just skip right through this. I've talked about him enough. 6'1", 210 pounds. He is the gritty, tough as nails quarterback whom I've admired since he first started at Iowa State. I do love that team, but ever since I first saw him play, I've been enamored with how he does. He's coming into year three as a starter. So the last 2 years, he's thrown for 6,600 yards and 48 touchdowns. He is a guy who is loyal to the soil. He has resisted big NIL attempts to get him away from Iowa State. As Matt Campbell said, like the top 10 players on that team have all turned down more lucrative contracts elsewhere to stay on this team. But he got really good towards the end of last year, and it's because he unlocked his ground game, which he didn't really have before, which he's leveled up. So he was one of just two quarterbacks in the entire nation last year to throw for 25 touchdowns and to rush for 8 touchdowns. But he's not a dual threat per se, so he's not like the dual threat guy who'll get you 1,000 yards on the ground. He got about 400 yards rushing, but he got 8 touchdowns. He is a stand and deliver pocket passer who has the athletic ability to scramble and make plays, which for me makes him more dangerous because you're expecting him to pass. You turn your backs in coverage, your coverage is really good, but your defensive line gives up contain. He's in the end zone. And when you're not expecting them to run as much, I think it's more dangerous than in a proper dual threat quarterback. He's an exemplary leader as well. Seen no more so than in the Big 12 championship game last year. I mean, down 45-10 against Arizona State. He got absolutely wrecked by Shamari Simmons on a free blitz, took a hit to the head, was looked like he was out unconscious on the ground, and with the game over in the fourth quarter, he somehow dragged himself back up, got off the sideline, went back into the game, was able to throw a touchdown before the end of it, but you can't keep him down. You're looking for that grit, determination, and leadership from your quarterback, and he's got that in spades. And he's clutch. In 2024 alone, he orchestrated four game-winning drives, which either started or ended within the last 2 minutes of the game. He thrives under the sort of pressure that last drive of a game getting his team home. And one of those included overturning a 14-point deficit to UCF. They won it 35-34 when down 14 late in that one. He's clutch. He's low-key a good dual threat option, or he has the legs to be able to do that. Good numbers in the passing game. He's throwing 60% so far for his career, which could be a little higher. And he has tossed 17 picks in the last 2 years. Couple of pick sixes in there. So the accuracy needs a little bit of fine tuning. And his big problem this year, he's got to prove he can do it all without Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins. You know, his two big receivers who he's had with him since day one. But if the passing just gets a little bit more crisp and clean, he elevates the new receivers there with him next year. There's a future number one quarterback in the NFL there. Not be a number one overall pick, absolutely not, because he's a little on the smaller side, but he'll be a starter in the NFL one day. I love this kid. I think he's got a lot of good aspects to his game. He's getting better year on year. He's going to have plenty of starting experience. He's going to come to the draft. You're going to get to see him in Ireland as well. I hope he performs well there. Fixable problems on a good team, which is going to go after the Big 12 again. I'm all in on the spectacle, as they say. So yeah, I just absolutely love this kid so much. And just as a quick aside, right, I looked at these. Is it fair to say the Big 12, and I'm going to say this is a big thing, it's got the best group of quarterbacks this year. I would even maybe say talent-wise, looking at them all, like it's deep, and he's just one of many really talented guys in the Big 12.
Yeah, it's a deep pool. There's a lot of guys that are going to have good years.
Hmm. I look at it and I think it might be the most competitive and deep group of quarterbacks in the Power Four. So yeah, Rocco Becht is my man there. Moving over to Ryan, who do you have at quarterback this year?
So my quarterback to watch this year is Aidan Borman. So the 6'5", 220 signal caller for the South Dakota Coyotes down in the FCS. 2024 record was 11-3. They shared the Missouri Valley Conference and they fell at the semi-final stage of the playoffs to the Montana State Wildcats. He finished the season with 68% complete passing rating, 2,958 yards, 19 touchdowns, just 14 interceptions. So he will enter this year as third all-time in passing yards, fourth all-time in completions, fifth all-time in passing touchdowns in program history. He's got a 22-9 record as it stands. Last year, he was the third graded QB in the FCS completely together. So this guy's one of the most experienced signal callers in the country right now. We've already got 31 games under his belt. He's got back-to-back playoff berths now that he's led South Dakota into. And he's one of the tallest, he's one of the most physically well put together, strongest arms that have got the FCS level. He's very efficient. Like I say, he's in the high 60s.
Bless
Oh,
you.
bless him. Yep. So he spent all last 3 years all in the high 60 completion passing range. He's one of the best signal callers that have been in the Missouri Valley for the last 5, 10 years. And he's going to end probably top one, two, three in all categories by the end of this year. He's well on his way to making a case to be one of the best small school 2026 draft prospects coming out of this. There will be a lot of teams out there who have got a roster spot or a third place, like say, on their team for a big 6'5" passer with FCS player of experience. By the time he's done, like say, he'll have nearly 45 potential college games under his belt as a starter. He's the real deal, and he's returning to college this year as one of the most productive and the most experienced and talented guys right now. And he's expecting to try to take them one further and make a national title game this year. It was fantastic last year. He just protects the ball so well. Hardly ever puts it in harm's way. He's very efficient. Like I say, throws a nice, tight, fast spiral. He's someone that the rushing yards out there, he's very much a kind of stand and deliver step in the pocket, but he's very good at what he does. He's very tough. He's very hard to bring down. He's very physical. And he's got most impressive resumes right now in the country. So this year, he's going to put up another stellar year. Hopefully, go out with a big bang and take the Coyotes on another playoff run this year. He will be one of the best quarterbacks in the country, I think, at the Division One level this year when all is said and done.
And I believe he's on the East-West Shrine list, isn't he, this year?
He
The
is,
watch
yeah.
list for
A
that.
few play, yeah. I had a look at that, took that into account when I picked a few of these guys. So yeah, he's someone to expect him seeing multiple All-Star games at the end of this year.
It's really intriguing. There are what, six FCS or Division Two quarterbacks on that watch list this year, which is a big number for an all-star game. And he's one of them. So yeah, Aiden Bowman, one of the FCS upstarts for you to watch there at the quarterback position. Right, let us move on to the running backs, and we'll spider this because I've got two and Wright has got one. So the first of my running backs to watch for this year, I'm really, really excited about this kid because he is about to break out in the biggest way possible. And yes, call me a homer, absolutely. Dalen Hollywood Smothers from NC State, the running back. He is 5'11", 195 pounds. Started off as an Oklahoma commit. Had 1 year there, didn't see much action. Came to NC State last year. Didn't start the season at running back, but he came into his own as the season went on. And for my money, he is the most talented running back in the ACC. And I say that over the likes of Isaac Brown, etc., who are also really good themselves. But he is Hollywood by name. He is must watch by nature. So on this offense, he's like the energizer bunny of this offense. He never runs out of energy. He can hit you anywhere on the field that you want. He's got great contact balance, going through the middle, going through the tackles. He's really patient with his reads. He can work nicely inside or outside of the tackles, so he's not a one-dimensional running back. He can do what you need him to. He's got the strength to go through the middle, the speed to hit you on the outside. As I mentioned, he worked his way in at the back end of last season. He had 571 yards on the ground at 6.4 yards per carry. He had 6 touchdowns and he fumbled the ball just once all season. But what really elevates him to the next level as well is his ability as a receiver. He is a dangerous yak receiver. So he had 263 receiving yards last year. He had a couple of touchdowns as well. 240 of his yards were after the catch. So pretty much everything that he got came after the catch. He's got such great feet. He can turn on a dime. It forces a lot of missed tackles in the open field. And to add to all that as well, he does return work for them. He kind of did more during the start of the season when he played in the first team more. It kind of went down, but he's a three-way guy. He is a runner, he is a receiver, he is a returner. Um, he's just got to work on his pass pro. It was his first year as a starter last year. It wasn't great, but he's going to form one of the best tandem duos in the country. For my reckoning, CJ McCall, who's the second year starter for us, he's our first homegrown quarterback in some time now. This are the pair who are going to break out together this year. CJ McCall, but yeah, Dalen Hollywood Smothers, he is going to be must-watch TV this year, and I think he might just be the best running back in the ACC. Again, a little biased, but yeah, wait till you see his receiving skills, what he does after the catch. He's so dangerous, and they're going to use him in every which way this year. I'm so looking forward to seeing this guy play. So yeah, Hollywood Smothers is my first guy at running back there. Let's move it over to Rye. Who have you got at running back?
I get NC State as well because in recent years they're becoming a bit of an O-line factory as well. Like I
They
said,
are.
yeah, their run game is getting really good.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah,
we don't, and we
so
don't, and we don't have a transfer quarterback this year. First time it's a homegrown guy, works better. He's 6'6", 240 pounds. Oh, I can't wait to see Shady McCall this year either. But yeah, it's going to be good. Sorry, anywho, who have you got at running back?
so my running back is Dawson Pendergrass. So this is the Junior Baylor Bear. So 6'2", 210 pounds, 2024. 121 carries, 671 yards and six touchdowns, and 11 receptions for 103 yards and a touchdown. He was one of the most efficient tandems in the country with a star household name called Bryson Washington. So these were one of only three pairs in the whole of the Power Four that produced 1,000 plus yard rusher and a 600 plus yard rusher. So they worked very well as a day. And yeah, it feels disingenuous to kind of overlook Pendergrass just because Washington will be the star this year because he is one, he's built like an absolute brick. You only have to look at him, just know, like say, he is a physical specimen. He's incredibly hard to bring down at the point of contact. He is very efficient in between the tackles. So he protects the ball very well. He breaks contact very well. He's hard to bring down, and he's someone that prides himself on coming in, punishing defenses just at the right time. So this is a guy that, yeah, he is the running back too, but it feels like it's very much like a 1A, 1B system. And with hype building around the Baylor system this year, and Sawyer Robertson now coming into his prime, I'd expect in the passing game, we might see a bit more of Dawson this year. He was good last year, averaging like 10 yards of reception. I think he may come out of the backfield a little bit more. I'd like to see two more back sets this year. This is one of the best duos in the country. But Dawson, yeah, I'd expect this year, say, he had 774 yards this year. He feels like he's primed for a season and junior to potentially go well over 1,000 yards from scrimmage. So I think he's going to maybe try challenge, carry a bit, eat more into Washington's carries this year, but they do affect very well as a tandem. And on most other teams in the Big 12, he would be a starting running back and taking a lot of carries because he's got a lot of production under his belt right now, and he's only taken a certain percentage of what other guys' punishment will take. So he's come into this year very fresh. And the Bears, a lot of dark horse. Like you say, there are people out there, like I say, I've seen analysts on Twitter putting Baylor in the Big 12 title game. And if that's going to happen, guys like Dawson are going to have to go well over 1,000 yards in scrimmage. So yeah, this could be a big year for Dawson.
Yeah, I love that shout because it's easy to go with the thousand. It's easy to go with the predominant guy in the relationship, but you don't realize the effect sometimes of the guy underneath him. Remember Ashton Giante when he was second figure to George Halani? Look how that one worked out. Like you say, it's just I'm trying to work out. You said they're one of three, so I assume Penn State are a pairing. They knocked out two 1,000 yard rushers
I
last
think
year.
the other one is
Is it New
Jeremiah
Mex?
Love and Jadarian Price and Notre Dame.
I was about to say New Mexico, but is that running backs? Because they had a
Yeah,
thousand yard
pairs of running
quarterback.
back. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Actually, no, wait. Would a Notre Dame class as a Power Four school being an independent? No, they would be still.
Yeah, I think they would.
Yeah, I think it's
So,
Price and Love that are also the 1,600.
so that's high praise there. Like Penn State, Notre Dame, two of the best running back duos in the nation. So yeah, I love that shout. Yeah, Dawson Pendergrass at Baylor there, and then my second guy we've got here, and you'll notice a theme that come from teams that I like at this moment in time, although it's not all the way through. Of course, I'm going to have a Yukon Husky in my team at some point. Now, I've got Cam Edwards, so he's the running back for the Yukon Huskies. He's 5'11", 210 pounds, almost a perfect build for what I love in a running back. So he is the workhorse, every down back who is the absolute engine which makes this Huskies offense run. He's got 1,450 yards and 12 touchdowns at 5.4 yards per carry over the last 2 years. He's only fumbled the ball twice, so he's another that's got terrific hands, good ball security. Um, but this is the guy who will run you over, and there's not a damn thing that you can do about it. He's so good with his dual threat ability. Like he can be that bell cow guy who'll run over you, but he's also got the breakneck speed to be able to stretch the field. There was a play against Syracuse. They had a 4th and 1 on their own 29. He took it 71 yards to the house, got through two tackles, and then he was gone. They couldn't catch him. Like this is a game changer. Jim Mora, and this is one of the things that really stood out when I first started looking at him. Jim Mora called him the Christian Haynes of running backs, and you will all know how much I love Christian Haynes. But he's talking about the attitude of the guy where he is the toughest nut on this team, but he's not a jerk. He's a footballing tough nut, and he's got one more year there. to really go out and get a big 1,000 yard season. He's been hovering about the 700 yard mark the last two seasons, although they do run rotation. But in terms of what an NFL team's going to see with him, he's a good receiver as well. He's really underrated. Had a couple of 100 yards, two touchdowns last year. He's got great hands when he gets the ball thrown to him, and not just on screens and stuff. He can play in the slot when they want him to. You kind of just they have this ability to get guys in the NFL and to train them up to that level. And we've not seen it at running back recently, but they sent a 1,000 yarder to Michigan a couple of years ago. They know what they're doing. Cam Edwards just screams NFL player. I just love his build, love what he's about, love the attitude. And I think that Jim Morris, he's going to be his next pick who goes to the NFL. So yeah, Cam Edwards of UConn. Looking forward to seeing him this year, and UConn as well. They can win 8 or 9 games looking at their schedule. So with that, we will see. Let's move it on to the receivers, and we are both at two receivers apiece here. So we'll start on your side this time because I've just been mentioning about Cam. Who is the first of your two receivers that you've got on your list, Rye?
My first receiver is Reginald. I'll go with his Christian name, Reginald Virgil. So he is now a Texas Tech Red Raider. He enters his senior year at 6'3", 190. He was on the All-MAC second team in 2024. He is a previous Miami of Ohio player. In 2024, he had 41 catches for 816 yards, 9 touchdowns with 19.9 yards average on reception. He helped the team on the way to a MAC championship appearance. He decided to declare and enter the portal for his senior year. He actually entered the list on ESPN's 47th best player in the portal, and he was the 10th best wide receiver prospect by metric in their portal list. So he was highly considered and well thought of when he decided to put his name in the hat. He had a stellar year in the MAC. He was incredibly good, especially like say when they were making their way later down the season. He is a great outside receiver. He has got a nice, long, slender frame. He's got a great catch radius. He's been very productive in an offense that has been very good at moving the ball down the field and attacking the sidelines. He's someone that uses that physical prowess and that good range to help him make some very good catches, but also nearly 20 yards at average a catch. So he's someone that has got that yak ability and also can track a deep ball downfield with good hand-eye coordination and punish teams at any given chance to make a play. He's very much a big splash player, and he now lands in Lubbock. So he's joining a very exciting prospect of a new offensive coordinator that's highly driven, taking over the Red Raiders, and he's going to go with one of the, in my opinion, one of the Heisman sleepers in Behren Morton at quarterback. He is filling in where the previous talents now have left. He's filling a large spot on the outside in what expects to be a strong, let's say Taj Brooks has gone now as well. It's going to be a strong pass-heavy offense. And Reggie is one of those senior guys that's going to come in straight away and look to fill the void of those that have moved on. He's going to get plenty of targets this year. He's going to go up against multiple very talented Big 12 corners, but this is just such one of those like all gung-ho offenses. Like I say, we'll kind of worry about the defense and score someone else. He's just primed to have a massive year this year, and then also then build towards 2026, putting towards a strong resume as the G5 to a Power 4 NFL draft prospect. So yeah, he's got a frame that can build some muscle on, coming off a fantastic year that was very productive, and now gets a chance to make himself a name, potentially make another championship game. Also, just put himself on radars and scouts and look towards building towards a strong off season next year.
See, I love this. We are very much different thinkers when it comes to players. When it comes to these things, we very rarely overlap on guys, but we have the same train of thought about the guys we're looking for and what they're doing. You have a group of five transfer to the Big 12, big outside receiver who's going to do well on his new team this year. My first guy is a group of five receiver going to the Power Four. He's going to the Big 12. He's an outside receiver, and I fancy him to do really, really well this year. And I'm going back to a team I've already gone to once. I have got Chase Sowell at Iowa State. He is the 6'4", 195 pound receiver from East Carolina. last year, and this is basically going to be the replacement on this team for Jaden Higgins on the outside. He's gone for 1,300 yards and 4 touchdowns over the last 2 years at East Carolina. He was averaging nearly 20 yards per reception on his 34 grabs last year as that East Carolina team finally turned it round, and they look a really good option again. But as well as providing the deep threat, he's this big-bodied, high-level run blocker as well. Like East Carolina, they do run the ball well. He'll earn himself plenty of targets from Beck just because of the physicality and his work in the run game alone. But in terms of, Rocco loves to throw deep in these contested catch situations to these big-bodied outside wide receivers. Chase Sowell is going to be his new best friend when it comes to that. But he is a threat at all three levels. They use him a lot in the short game as well. He's very route running savvy, has a lot of routes at his disposal, likes to come into the middle of the field, get the ball, chase that yak afterwards. He's not just an outside merchant. So yeah, he's a three range receiver, really good on the outside. Got the frame to do the run blocking. Got that there. There's a lot going for him. He just lacks a big breakout 1,000 yard season at the moment. He's steadily been going about 700 for the last couple, which is nothing wrong with that. But you want to see him break out the big one there. And he's got a drop problem. But weirdly enough, it's not in the deep game. His hands are really, really good when it comes to throwing down the field. He's got 12 drops in the last 2 years, and nine of them have come in the short range of the game, which means obviously concentration issues, balls getting fired in at you really quickly. It's just little bits that I would expect the Iowa State wide receiver coaches will get out of him because they did such a good job with Noel and Higgins and all these other guys. I would expect to clean that up. So if he can clean his hands up in the short game, continue being a menace in the deep game, I think Chase Sowell is going to eat with Rocco Beck throwing the ball towards him. Hopefully, we'll see some against K-State in Ireland in a couple of weeks. But again, he's another one like Reggie Virgil. I'm looking forward to seeing how this guy does in the Power Four. 'Cause if he has a good first year, you're going to hear his name a lot when it comes to draft profiles. But yeah, I like that. Two group of five transfers up to the Big 12 to start with. Who have you got next, Ryan?
I've got this is the most exciting player I've got on my list. So I've got Marquise Buchanan, the wide receiver for the Rhode Island Rams. At 6'4", 180, coming into his junior year. He's currently a 2024 FCS All-American. Yesterday, he was named to the Walter Payton 30-man preseason shortlist, so he's one of the FCS Heisman candidates. Last year, he had 82 catches for 1,124 yards and 8 touchdowns as a sophomore. Following up what was nearly a 650-yard season and a couple of touchdowns as a true freshman. I say a big program in the FCS. He helped Rhode Island to their first FCS appearance this year since 1985. And in the second round against the Mercer Bears, had a monster day with 11 catches for 119 yards and a touchdown. This kid is the real deal. He works his way from the slot to outside. He's a tremendous athlete. He's incredibly tall and lean, but he's still got physical strength despite being a slender frame. He's one of the guys that is taking the FCS right now by storm. He's one of the most exciting wide receiver prospects probably in the country this year. He's still pretty young, still got a lot to learn about his game, but has come in, made a tremendous impact in a short amount of time. QB's best friend, catches nearly everything that comes his way. Absolute monster in the red zone. He's one of those guys where you need to give him a big cushion. Like I say, he's able to get up to top speed very quickly. He's got great feet, good footwork, nice route recognition. He's worked really hard to hone his game right now. And this year he's got the chance to set himself up going at 2026. He'll have another massive year. And then he's got a very big decision to make as potentially underclassman junior transfer. But I think this time next year, we'll be talking about him entering the portal. I think he will get a very good Power 4 offer with a nice NIL package. A lot of big time FCS receivers have made their way up and found a lot of success in recent years. This kid just feels like he's next in line to do that. I think he's going to become a household name in the next 12 months, and that he's going to be getting lots of portals and a lot of visits, especially out up on that East Coast around the Big 12 teams like that. So, yeah, I think he wants to go a bit further. I hope Rhode Island can make waves, make a bit of in route in a more of a long, steady playoff pre-season run. Like I say, they're a very good team that's been getting a lot better in recent years, and this kid's he's going to be a star. I've got a feeling, let's say, when all is said and done, we'll probably finish somewhere in the top five, six in the Walter Payton Heisman voting this year. He's going to be someone that's got an outside shot to win. There's plenty of quarterback. It's nearly predominantly all. There's only six running back receivers on the list. So the rest other 24 are QBs and running backs. So he's looked at his position to be very highly talented and stands out among many names. But yeah, this kid, he's someone that I think a lot of people don't know now. When the next 12 months, we'll start to hear this name.
And that's why you watch us, because we dig these guys out so you don't have to. But yeah, one of the best FCS wide receivers going. Looking forward to seeing what he does this year. And then for me, for my second guy, I'm going to the ACC again. And no, don't worry, I'm not going back to NC State because we don't have anyone at this moment in time. I've got Lewis Bond from Boston College, a team who I love watching. Generally, you go for the trench players there, but one of the skill players has taken my eye in recent times. And Lewis Bond, again, really exciting prospect. I'm looking forward to seeing this year on this BC team, which I'm hoping can break its 7-win curse. He's 5'11", 199 pounds, but he's Boston College's hybrid do-it-all receiver. And when I say does it all, he does everything that a receiver can possibly do. It's about a 45-55 match from his inside to outside ability, but they put him in the backfield. They have him on end arounds. They kind of use him as a running back sometimes as well. Like if they can get the ball in his hands, they will do it. He's totaled over 1,300 yards and 10 touchdowns this past 2 seasons. And I think he's on the brink of his true breakout now, especially now they're not using a dual threat quarterback in Castellanos. They've got a stand and deliver passer in Grayson James, who, they worked well together at the back end of last year. Very savvy route runner, makes him dangerous in the short game, but he's got genuine separation speed mixed with really good hands and vision, which makes for some really lovely catches downfield. Like the long bombs that are thrown at him, he positions himself well, doesn't give away where the ball is to the DB, and it just gets that separation that he needs to take it on. But he can house those 50, 60 yarders as well as doing all the slot stuff in the middle of the field as well. And to top it off, he's got a 67% contested catch rate, which for someone who's sub 6 foot and sub 200 pounds, it's one of the best contested catch rates going in college. And this was over a lot of contested catches as well. It wasn't like two of three or something like that. It was like 12 or 16 or something. So when he goes up for the ball, he will bring it down. He's very strong considering he's a little on the smaller side. He's a more than adequate run blocker as well. We know Boston College emphasized the physical side of their trench play, not just for their offensive linemen, but for their receivers and the running backs as well. You got to be willing to do the dirty work. He is expected to become a captain on the team this year. And again, captaincy at Boston College takes an awful lot to get a hold of, and it's a big symbol in terms of your NFL career prospects. If you can get a captaincy gig there, goes a long way to showing just how good you are. For me, he just needs one big season, a breakout 1,000 yard year, show that you can really host the load of this team. You're trying to pull them up into the 8, 9, 10 win category. The ACC is competitive. There's some big teams in there. You want to show out well against them, and you've got the added responsibility of your captaincy this year. But in terms of just someone who is an all-round threat and is just really good, whether he's working inside, outside, in the short game, in the long game, whatever you want from him, he'll do it for you. So, Lewis Bond, really looking forward to seeing this kid this year for Boston College for the Eagles. So yeah, that is my second receiver. Then we'll move into the tight ends. I'll go first, so Ryan can go next because I've got the O lineman coming, and this is another Mac guy coming this year, and I think you might have seen a bit of him as well, right? But Tanner Koziel for
Yeah,
Houston.
I had him on my list.
There
Yeah.
is, there is and I tell you, if I'm low key excited about one of these guys, Tanner Koziel is this guy. So he's a tight end for the Houston Cougars this year. He's 6'7" and 240 pounds. When I say he's been a Mac monster, he has been a Mac monster. He has broken all sorts of records in his 3 years at Ball State, and he left with over 1,500 receiving yards and 18 touchdowns. He had 94 receptions in 2024, which was sixth amongst all players in the country. That's receivers as well. And with that 6'7" frame and his ability to catch the ball, he is a QB's best friend. And what makes him so good? He was a high school receiver. So he has a very good route tree for a tight end. He's got advanced knowledge of the position, which puts him above some of these other receiving tight ends. He knows what he's doing with this. He's along with the sixth most receptions last year. He had 26 contested catches. That is ones he won. That's not just how many were thrown in his direction. That was how many he won. That was first in the FBS by a long shot. I don't think anyone else passed 20, if I can remember rightly. That was ranked number one nationally. So not only does he know how to run routes like a receiver, he's got a 6'7" body and he knows how to use it when the ball is thrown in his direction. He's got a great head coach in Willie Fritz this year. He's got a very good quarterback in Connor Weigman, who still has got a lot of potential for him. I said he could win a Heisman last year. He is going to be Connor Weigman's best friend. I think he's going to flourish in this system with Willie Fritz. This like he's a monster, right? And if this Houston team might be the BYU of the league this year, they've invested heavily in that team. Christ, you could look at the leading tight end in the nation by the time he's done.
Yeah, he had so many offers coming out of Ball State. Like I say, he's very highly regarded in the tight end class that is in this year. And yeah, just he's a dynamic mismatch at 6'7". He's very lean. He's got good hands. He's got a good release, and he's a good athlete after. So in the passing game, he's a nightmare for most linebackers and edge rushers, anyone that wants to deal with him, because he is a physical weapon and he goes up against well. So he's a bit of a chess piece here. I'd expect him to have maybe not the all the crazy yards, but I expect him to have more bigger impact players, like say against some bigger opposition as well. So he will go up against, and he will be thoroughly tested as a blocker too. We will see how good he is a blocker this year when he comes up against some of those much better defensive linemen and tackles that the Big 12 will offer. So we're going to get a really good test of how pro ready he is this year.
Yeah, that's the big thing for him. It's the blocking. He's done all right at Ball State, but those Big 12 edges are built different to MAC edges, as you say. So, but I'm really looking forward to seeing Tanakoziel this year. And then yourself, who do you have at tight end?
For tight end, I've got Alex Bauman. So the current Miami Hurricane, 6'5", 240, enter his senior year. He has been a standout in the country in the G5 with one of the most consistent programs of recent years, the Tulane Green Wave. So coming out of high school, he was a three-star edge rusher at 6'2", 225, and within the first year made the change to tight end, which is a very interesting flip to make, but he's done it very successfully. And when he entered the portal at Tulane, 24/7 Sports gave him a three-star out of five, so he was considered a good prospect to pick up. So 2023, 35 catches for 286 yards and five touchdowns, and then followed it up last year. Better in the red zone, seven touchdowns, 212 yards and 20 catches. Very experienced guy, an incredibly good, well-rounded pass catching, blocking tight end. He's been one of the key contributors for a Tulane team that has really been one of the cream of the crop of G5 in recent years. He's been a big part of that. He's a leader on our offense, incredibly strong. He's great in the red zone. He's good with the ball on his hands. He can move in and out of the slots. He's happy to move whereabouts he's needed on the offense. He's able to chip. He's able to help get stuck in the dirty stuff in the trenches. So he's someone that's got a good build. He has been relied upon, called upon. He's been very loyal to our program in recent years, but he's now decided to make the change. And this is one of those fits where the Miami Hurricanes have had three tight ends drafted in the top 5 rounds since 2020, and we've just seen a huge gap left by Elijah Arroyo. He had 35 catches for 590 yards and seven touchdowns. This is a Hurricanes team that loves tight ends. They've had some of the best tight ends in recent years in NFL history. Like you say, you've got like guys like Shockey in that. So they have got a good repertoire. And he's realized that in his last year, he's going to go to a program that he can be the focus on. It's going to have a new QB. It's lost weapons. He can go straight in there, slotted as a veteran presence. He will get plenty of touches. He will get a good chance to easily put up his most yards and catches that he has done all year. It's going to put him in the spotlight going into a class where he can be another guy that can be, like, say, a mid day late too early to a draft pick because, like I say, he's now going to get a lot of national to televised games. He's going to go up against some big opponents on big stages. So this is one of those where the timing's just right, the destination feels right for him. And he's someone that's been one of the consistent hard workers at that program. So he's got a well-deserved promotion in my eyes. I think he's going to be a name to watch this year and next round. Anyone looking for a fourth, fifth round tight end, this will probably be one of you guys you're looking at.
I feel like losing Cam Ward and getting Carson Beck's a big win for the tight ends. Carson
Yeah.
Beck would strike me as
Check
the one who
downs, like you
likes
say, yeah.
his,
You come into a new program, you kind of look at tight ends as like a safety blanket.
yeah, and you're not lobbing it downfield all the time. There's no Restrepo there this year. Like that feels set up for
A
him
lot
to
of
do
dump
really
offs that
well.
come his way, which means, like say, yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of like say those catches behind the line of scrimmage, and then yeah, just do your thing, Alex.
Yeah, that feels like he's set up in a good situation this year. So yeah, Alex Bauman there, other tight end. We'll see how he does. Right, I'll move on to the offensive line. So I've got one and Ryan doesn't. So I'm gonna not try and spend ages on this, but I mean we can chat about them anyhow. So in terms of the tackles. I am really, really looking forward to seeing these two tackles this year. And one of them I want for the Lions in 12 months. Well, not 12 months, but I want in the next draft for them. But the first one I've got tackle wise, and I'm doing it this way because this is how I did my notes on them. I hope I've got the right one here. Lawan Owens from the California Golden Bears. He is a transfer there, so he's a left tackle. He's 6'4", 355 pounds. This is a big guy, and he absolutely doesn't. But he was the New Mexico left tackle last year, and he had an unbelievably good redshirt freshman year. So New Mexico, and again, I don't think we gave them their due credit last year really on here, but they went from being the laughing stock of the FBS to one of the nation's most potent offenses. And it started with that offensive line. The team had two 1,000-yard rushers, which has included the quarterback Devin Dampier. And it's very hard for an offensive lineman to block for a mobile quarterback as well. It puts a lot more strain on you. And then they surrendered 5 sacks all season. That was the lowest number of sacks given up by any team in the country. And Devin Dampier threw for some good yardage last year, so it wasn't like they were a triple option team, never throwing the ball. He himself gave up just one quarterback hit and 5 total pressures all season, and that is in the Mountain West. And the Mountain West has some very good edge rushers in it. Hell, we just drafted one this year. He played against him last year, and he did really well against Ahmed Hassanin. And this was an offense last year at New Mexico which had returned 2 starters. It was a brand new offense in every way, shape, or form. He's starting his first year. He's playing left tackle for the first time. But it's this 355-pound size of his. He uses every pound of that to his advantage. But the scary thing is, unlike a lot of guys at that size who might struggle with speed rushes and get into the second level, the more athletic part of it, because you're really big, he is so athletically gifted. He has no issues sort of anchoring in against speed rushers, having to get out a few steps and push them around the edge, get into the second level, get into the perimeter to screen block. Absolutely no problem for this guy whatsoever. He has really shone in his year at New Mexico. And why he's specifically gone to Cal, it's not just to go to the Power Four this year. He's followed his offensive line coach. So Famika Anai is his offensive line coach, was at New Mexico last year. He went to Cal. Juan Owens is following him there, so he's going to have continuity with the coach. He's going to slot right into this team. I don't know where he's playing yet. Some possibility he might go in at left guard, which will give him versatility as well. But at his size, I'd just stick him on the blind side and let him block this year and do his great thing. But Juan Owens is a very, very exciting prospect for Cal this year. If he balls out, you're going to be a lot of talk about him going into next year when he's going into his third season. And then the other one who I really, really want for Detroit next year, because he's played both positions, right tackle, left tackle, and he comes from a system I trust to create. And I think he's the best offensive lineman in the Big Ten, and he's not mentioned. I've got Caleb Tiernan from Northwestern. So the Wildcat, 6'7", 329 pounds. He is the next great tackle prospect out of Evanston. And as I say, I think he's currently the best tackle in the Big Ten. He's got 39 games under his belt. He's played both tackle positions. He's now entering year three playing for the blind side. This guy is a run mauling monster. And when he sets his anchor in pass protection, good luck shifting him. I'm like, he ran an absolute gauntlet of opponents last year. You got Mikhail Camara, Max Llewellyn, Will Held, Jack Sawyer, JT Tuamolau, Josiah Stewart, Gabe Jackas. These are all guys who have been drafted or are going to be drafted in next year's draft. It was an absolute hell's hell of edge rushers you have to come up against last year, not to mention the sleuth of DTs you've got working on you as well. He gave up just 3 sacks all season. He has the size, he has the frame. We know he has the technique coming out of Northwestern. We've seen the likes of Rashawn Slater, and Darasaur, I think, was the other one just before that, coming up to the NFL, and they take no time to adapt whatsoever. He's just on a bad team. And that's really the only thing that's holding him back here. But 6'7", 329, pretty sure that's roughly the same size as Taylor Decker as well. I want a swing tackle for this team. I want a really good one who's eventually going to play football in the NFL. And I don't know if you've seen him much, right? But if there's one thing I trust Northwestern with, it's their tackles. And I watched him and he's bloody good.
Yeah. I have seen some of the, I watched a couple of the games last year. Very impressive. Someone like I said, it's got that lateral side to side agility, that recognition of like say where he needs to be before the ball is snapped. He's very good in that aspect of getting where he needs to be, resetting himself, and then making impact at the point of contact. So yeah, Northwestern do one thing right in recent years. It is trench warfare. They have struggled at other stuff, but they do build these well. They're gritty. They're resilient and they're good, disciplined guys. So yeah, I'm definitely in the market for a tackle this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm kind of done with all our guys at the minute, and I want one. So that he's like number one on my wish list for next year's draft at this moment in time. So we'll see with that one. The guards I've got this year, guards I also really like as well. There's some really good offensive linemen. So the first one I've got, and I'm really looking forward to seeing this one. It is Kalen Rutledge from Georgia Tech. We mentioned him a couple of weeks ago because he was in Phil Steele's All ACC first team going into this year. But Rutledge is he's the superstar pass protector on that Georgia Tech team. He's 6'4", 320 pounds, I think it is. Spent 2 years as as one of their starting guards at this point in his career. He is just insanely good when it comes to his pass protecting. Great feet, great anchor, great lower body, great strength. Kind of everything you need. He's your who's who of guards there, and he's going to be one of the best guard prospects potentially in the country by the time this year's done. Just needs to sort the run stuff out, which is weird considering Georgia Tech do have one of the best running backs in the nation on their roster. You'd think it was a strength of theirs, but hopefully if they're going to run it a bit more through Jamal Haynes this year, he's going to be able to show some more of it because he's 6'6", sorry. He's quite tall, so it's tough to get the run blocking stuff up when you're that high. But another year, if you can just show a little bit more in your run game as well as your elite pass protection skills, then I'm all in on having a look at Kalen Rutledge as well, but he will get picked probably day two of a draft, and no one will blink an eye at that. But yeah, you're going to look good on that Georgia Tech team. And then the other one, who I'm looking forward to see him make the transition up. So we've got Daniel King at UNC. So he's going to be, I think, the guard for them this year, the right guard he's going into. He's 6'5", 340 pounds. He comes in from Troy. So he's a two-time All Sun Belt 40-game veteran captain from Troy. And he is in Chapel Hill for one reason, or two reasons. One, to get draft stock, but two, to shut down that conveyor belt of pressures that UNC has ran for years. They have not protected their quarterbacks well at all, and Bill Belichick's had enough and he's decided he needs someone who's built with good old-fashioned grit and steel, and where better to go from the Troy Trojans. He is highly versatile. He has played at right guard and right tackle in abundance. He has helped front an offensive line that has powered to back-to-back Sun Belt championships a couple of years ago, and they were really good last year as well. They just didn't win the whole thing. He gave up one sack in 2024, despite the fact they literally kept moving him between right tackle and right guard because of injuries. So he is a high-level, versatile guy. He's probably going to play right guard there, but he's brute force trauma, as I put it here. And he's not the power four stage to perform his masterpiece on this year. He was meant to go to the draft because he was a JUCO player initially. That house ruling means he's got one last year to go up there and kick the ACC's ass and show that he can do it in the NFL. For me, he's UNC's best portal pickup, but you look at guys who come from seasoned, you know, conveyor belts of talent. You know, your Troy offensive linemen are up there with their D line, right?
Yeah, I think this makes sense. If I'm Bill, I'm going out there and I'm getting the most experienced, the most grounded, the most battle-hardened offensive lineman I can. Let's say that can make the step up, safe pair of hands to come in and anchor a line that's straight away that's struggled. So this guy is probably going to be one of the smartest decisions that the Tar Heels have made this year. He'll be one of the most dependable replied players on. And yeah, he's just so experienced right now. And yeah, he shouldn't look out of place at all starting the season. He'll look like he's been there all his time.
Absolutely. Probably going to be the captain of that offensive line sooner rather than later. That is his way. And then at centre, obviously, we've done a lot of work at centre in this preseason so far, but I'm putting Connor Lew in there out of Auburn. Again, we mentioned it. I have such high expectations for this Auburn team this year. It starts with him. He's one of the better. Well, he's in that sort of tier below the two at the top. He's in the one that could really break out this year. Connor Lew is a really good pass protecting center. And obviously, he's going to need to be this year. They've got two superstar receivers there. You've got a new quarterback in. You want to keep him upright. They don't traditionally run the ball well. It's not really his fault. Again, they've never really had good running backs there in Auburn. So but yeah, Connor Lew, I've mentioned him a lot already. He's just going to be in there. But I'm looking forward to seeing him most out of all the prospects we've seen. But yeah, I just hope Auburn do well. So yeah, that is my offensive line I've got in there. We'll move it on to the defensive line. Rye's got one here. I've got three. So I'll start with one of mine and then we'll move over to you. So the first one, mentioned this guy many, many times. Probably one of the others you could have factored into this at this point. But I've got Mikhail Camara from Indiana. I've been watching this guy ever since his days back at JMU. He's the defensive end for the Indiana Hoosiers. He's 6'1", 265 pounds. For me, he's one of the nation's most disrespected edge players. So over the past 2 years, at James Madison first, then at Indiana. He's one of Kurt Signetti's ride or dies. He takes him with him everywhere. He's laid waste to everything in front of him. 109 quarterback pressures, 18 sacks, 22 hits, 5 forced fumbles, 24 tackles for loss, consistently grades high 70s against the run. He is a destructive edge player. He's got this killer speed to power combo that has overwhelmed tackles who are heading or have headed to the NFL at this point. Again, it's a who's who of guys you're coming up against in that conference. He got double digit sacks in his first year in the Big Ten, and just every time he proves someone wrong with something, they find something new to ping on him. And he said in an interview he was going to stay at Indiana for 1 year, be one and done, have a great year, and then go to the NFL just to show he's a great pass rusher. But he knows the NFL's going to ping that 6'1" size. It's just the way things are. They shouldn't, but they do. And he's been very smart about this. So he's staying an extra year in Indiana and he's doing it very specifically to learn what is called the stud position. For those who don't know, the stud is the outside linebacker, defensive end hybrid. It's so you can play on the end of a three and play outside linebacker on a four. It's not something he's really done before they drop you into coverage more. You have duties other than just trying to rush the passer. And this is obviously going to give him the versatility for 3 or 4 man fronts, which means teams aren't going to look at that size so much as what they can do with him all across his line. Because if he goes just as a stand-up 4-man edge rusher, at the end, teams are just not going to like the 6'1" size. I don't know why they won't, but it's very smart of him to go back and learn a new position to make himself a more versatile prospect. He's going to get double-digit sacks again this year, and if he could have a great game against Ohio State or Penn State, that would help as well. But I don't know. I think he is one of the country's most disrespected edge rushers. I don't think his size should matter, but it's very clever of him to go back and to prepare himself instead of in a day three, late day two pick. This can move you up high if you've got that versatility on the edge.
Yeah, he. I'm on board with him, like say, returning and just making the most of every opportunity, finding the best place, showing that he can play multiple positions, how effective he can be up and down the line. It makes a lot of sense for me. He's another one of those guys where, yeah, the only real knock anyone will have as the pros or when he gets to the off season where he's coming towards the draft will probably be the dimensions, the sizes, the measurements, because everything else on tape and the production so far, it all checks out. He passes all those eye tests.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm looking forward to him again this year. Shout out about this Indiana D line all the time. Camera, he's going to be an absolute menace. He'll be the best, one of the best edges in the Big Ten this year. Right, let's move on to you. You have a defensive line prospect. Who do you have?
So I've got Aaron Graves. This is the defensive tackle on the Iowa Hawkeyes line. So coming to his senior year at 6'5", 290 pounds. He was an All Big Ten honorable mention 2024. He was the Gatorade Player of the Year in 2021 for the state of Iowa, where he had 63 tackles, 14 tackles for loss, and 7.5 sacks at Southeastern Valley as a DT. Also averaged 38 yards a punt. So he was also a punter back in high school. So in 2022 to 2023, collectively he only had 4.5 sacks and a forced fumble. But last year he managed to rack up 33 tackles, 3 passes defended, 6 sacks, and 3 forced fumbles. So coming off a big year for that Hawkeyes line. This guy, he is Iowa through and through. Like I say, he's what you expect in any player now. The bar is set when you play in black and gold. He's incredibly physical at the point of attack. He's very durable, kicking inside or working his way out. He's happy to shuffle all the way up and down the line if they want to play, mix it up a bit on their fronts, but someone that uses a lot of hand movement, a lot of power, aggression, very strong. He's got a great build and he's working on that prowess now when he gets in the backfield that he does like to start finishing and bring the quarterback down when it works. So he forced fumbles well this year. He's starting to get a bit better at recognizing, like say, getting his hands in for the ball when those guys are stood up at line of scrimmage or they decide to come through his hole. He's working on getting after it. Don't just make the tackle, try generate turnover. So this year, last year's rounding out his game very well. For me, enters 2025, 2026 as one of the more underrated defensive tackles in the country. Like say, the top 10 list on most websites will have Clemson, Texas Tech, Penn State, Georgia, LSU, Bama, Michigan, but they don't have anything about this guy from Iowa. And he was one of the more productive, more consistent players in the country last year. He is very much almost very pro ready. The run game is incredibly sound because it's the bread and butter of what the Hawkeyes have done for recent years. It's to make the teams throw on you by making that impenetrable force in the middle. So he's very sound in that aspect, doing his job, holding up very well and forcing guys to go around him. He's done a really hard job, like I said, coming out of high school where he was good at getting to the quarterback. He's done that now by gaining X amount of pounds. He's put on a good amount of weight over the years while keeping that strength and speed. So right now he's looking like the real deal, and he will come out again and be another one of the best defenders in the Big Ten this year. Bodes very well for pro prospects as well. There are plenty of teams out there that will value his skill set very highly as a great but athletic, well-rounded, well-versatile defensive end. So this year, yeah, I don't know if that Iowa will be good. Like I say, Iowa have been sketchy for recent years. You never know what you're going to get. They blow hot and cold, but this guy will no doubt be one of the best players on the team this year. And you'll hear his name called a lot in the Big Ten. So someone to watch their eye out for next year. Very much feels like a Dan Campbell, probably Kevin Shepherd kind of guy this year. So it would not expect us to see us sniffing around him in 12 months' time either.
And the one thing I found about that Iowa D line's young and experienced now. I think it's Max Llewellyn you've got there, Ethan Burke. I think that's why they've been quiet because they had a lot of young guys who've secretly gained a lot of experience, and they're going to the years two or three now. That Iowa D line's potentially going to be very good this year, because it's just been going so under the radar. So yeah, I'm all in on that one there. Um, Staying in the Big Ten again for the next D line. Obviously, D line Big Ten can be a safe bet sometimes, and I'll make mile marker happy here because I've
I've
got a.
technically got another D line. He's a bit of a floater.
You know, I've
Um,
put him as one of your linebackers, but well, I'll do mine first, and then we'll see where we'll put him. Um, I've got Anthony Smith from Minnesota. We're sticking in the Big Ten, and this is going against every fiber of my being and everything I've argued about, and people will shout, you know, here because it's just hypocrite. He's the defensive lineman from the Minnesota Golden Gophers, 6'6", 285 pounds. Had a very slow start to his career up till week 6 last year, which was almost a season and a half of him starting or having a major part in that rotation. He only had 2 sacks versus Power 4 opponents, and he's a tweener, and he is a tweener. Like he plays on the edge, plays at the 5 tech, he plays at the 3 tech. Minnesota have kind of moved him around with that frame he's got, and I don't think he was able to sort of find his home and find his rhythm. But towards the end of last year, in the last 7 games, he registered sacks in 5 of them. And what was really noticeable about how he was playing is he kind of gone through the hard graft of learning, playing on different positions in the line, and it was very noticeable. He was finding weak spots in the offensive line. He was picking on certain guys, and these versatile ones who are really good. That's what can be the upside to them. They'll find a weakness and they'll sort of dig at it. And he really learned that towards the end of last year. And with that 6'6", 285 pound frame, you can do what you want with him. You can play him in a 3-man front. You can play him in a 4-man front. You can slide him up and down the line. He's got the pass rush ability or the emerging pass rush ability to be a threat on the edge as well as through the middle. And it's just getting this consistency about him that's going to really seal the deal here for me. But I do like the frame. I like his build. I like how he plays. The Minnesota guys, and this is a big part of the reason he's on here. Minnesota, the trench warfare guys are tremendous. There's no Jar Joyner there this year. Both edges have gone, so this is really going to be his stage to shine. He had a tremendous game against Ohio State last year. I think he had a sack, a QB, or was it Penn State? It was Penn State. He absolutely blew up their offensive line last year, and it wasn't bad in the grand scheme of things. That was his real big breakout game. If he can do that over a full season, I'm really, really excited about what he's going to be able to do, and he will continue this ridiculous streak Minnesota have got of round one and round two picks. I think it's 6 years in a row now we mentioned. This is the guy who is foremost at the front to represent this year. And I know it goes against everything said. I don't mind guys who tween so long as they're good at everything. It's just the guys who tween and they're just not. They're just a jack of all trades. They're not a specialist. I think Anthony Smith can break the mold. I think he's potentially going to be really good there. So I've got him. Um, so yeah, keep an eye out for Anthony Smith there at Minnesota. And then the last true edge, or the last true defensive lineman player I've got here going to the ACC, and this is kind of a little bit of an out there one, but I've got Gabe Kirsch from Wake Forest. So he's had an interesting career. So he's 6'5", 249 pounds, defensive end, spent 2 years at Wisconsin, was not able to do anything there. So he transferred to Colorado State. And as we know, Colorado State in recent years has done a very good job developing its edge rushers, no more so than what's his face? Not Mikael Camera. It was who the hell am I thinking? Mo Camera, who came out of that system recently. Oh, there's been 2 of them actually, but anywho, took his chance last year as a redshirt sophomore, so he's really had to wait his turn there. 7 sacks, 10 tackles for loss. 2 forced fumbles, 1 interception, 3 batted passes, 75 grade against the run. Now, Colorado State, they produce these very technical, gritty edge plays. We really like them. We really like the Mountain West style of edge. And Kirsch is no different. He dominated as a transfer, and now he's going to a Wake Forest team that only had 20 sacks last year. That tied for 92nd nationally. The pass rush was non-existent there. It was a really bad year for the Demon Deacons. They've been on a down year for now. So someone like him to come into this system, and it's going to be a lot better this year. They've got a new defensive coordinator. He's known for producing sack-heavy teams if they do give up some points, but the edge plays do well. I think Kirsch, he's going to fly right under the radar. Probably going to have a double-digit season with the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, and a highly productive edge like that who is good in both disciplines of the game. Obviously, maybe just put a few more pounds on you, come in slightly sub 250 to the power four. In the ACC, you're going to need to put on a bit of weight, but again, I watch him play. He comes from a system I really like that create players I really like. I think he's going to come right under the radar here. So yeah, Gabe Kirsch, Wake Forest, another of the defensive linemen I think you need to watch out for this year because you're just not going to hear his name until late in the season if he's threatening to, be the leading sack guy in the country, and it would not surprise me at all. So yeah, those are my three guys on the defensive line there. Um, we'll move on to linebacker. We'll put your outside guy. He's kind of in there. But we'll have three linebackers apiece, so we can bounce backwards and forwards between these guys. So we'll move on to linebackers. We'll start with you, Rye. Who do you have up first at linebacker?
So my outside linebacker is Andrew Zock.
There
So
we go.
he is a Mercer Bear. He is a true sophomore. So 6'2", 250. So three-star recruit on three as a true freshman. And yeah, he did not disappoint. 38 tackles, 14 and a half tackles for loss, seven sacks, 15 QB hurries, and two forced fumbles. He scooped the SoCon Freshman of the Year award. He was an FCS Freshman All-American and finished fourth overall in voting for Jerry Rice Award, which is one of the best national freshmen. So he is the real deal. He is an absolute presence of the force. He's always buzzing around the defense. He's able to make his presence felt in the backfield. He then has got the ability to stand up and be in run support. Very physical for a smaller guy, like say that 6'2", 250, another one that's kind of got that in between a size and weight, but he's a very high IQ player, knows how to use leverage, understands where his strong is, how to convert his speed to size and weight. Another kid that just came in straight away, hit the ground running for the Bears, buzzing around. And like I say, he took the FCS by storm. So he's a player this year which will have a tremendous season. He's gone from a new kid on the block to an integral part of a defense on a team that is improving very quickly, and not many can say that. He backs himself so much he's decided to swap number to zero this year. And with great power comes great responsibility. If you wear zero, you best be a badass because everyone on the team wants to wear that cool number. Andrew is going to absolutely light things up this year. He is a true sophomore. He is going to come away from this season with a plethora of stats. He's going to get the Mercer Bears, who are a team that is really improving as well. Like I say, they made a good playoff run this year. He's going to be a guy that wants to do that again, prove that he's here to hang with the big boys, and it wasn't a flash. And according to an article by the Ocala Star Banner, when the team was 5-1, it turns out he found out that he torn his meniscus. And as a true freshman, like say, he decided to play all the remainder of the season through rehab and pain and had 3.5 sacks in those remaining 7 games, played all the minutes he could, and led the team all the way to the seventh seed and featuring past the first round and making a second round playoff appearance. So it was a stellar year for them, one that they'll remember very fondly for a long time. And this kid just embraced that, played through pain, played through injury, had a tremendous year, and got a very bright future. And we've seen such a number. Like we've just made guys, like I say, that have gone from like say the FCS and G5 to the Power Four very quickly. These kind of guys that are small or fast and get to the QB. This kid, if he's on an upward trajectory like this, then he will be in the FBS. If not next year, the year after. Like I say, he feels like he's got a lot of loyalty to the team right now. He's got unfinished business with the Mercer Bears, but it's going to be hard to keep hold of him once the people around him start to realize who he is and he gets that national attention. But yeah, he's going to the very top very quickly, is Andrew Zock.
I mean, linebackers are just built different, aren't they? They play with
Not many other
messed
positions
up.
compared to a tall meniscus and just suck it up like that.
Half of them play with messed up necks and everything. They're just built different. Yeah, Andrew Zock, he is a Lions player through and through. If ever there was one, he's going to be really fun to watch this year. He just needs that neck guard thing on him now, just to make him look like a right big badass. I love that when the linebackers have him. Moving on to my first guy I've got on here, Kyle Louis from Pittsburgh. Mentioned him very recently when we were doing the Power Four ranking shows. I love Kyle Louis. He's probably the top three of guys I really, really love on this list. Why? Because of just how he plays at the linebacker position. So he's their star linebacker. So not the star, but the actual star position. So again, as we mentioned, if you're a star linebacker, you've got to be able to rush the passer. You've got to be able to drop into coverage, and you've got to be able to play like a middle linebacker does. He started out life in college as a safety. He played his third year last year. It was his first as a starter, so he's got the instincts of a DB already. But as a linebacker, 101 total tackles for him last year, so he can take on the workload of acting like a true middle linebacker can. As a pass rusher, 7 sacks, 16 tackles for a loss. How Pittsburgh, how Narduzzi gets this blitz scheme of theirs to open up these outside linebackers, these linebackers, it's just tremendous. But he is so quick. His closing speed is rapid. If they do send him after a quarterback or a running back, he'll be there in no time at all. But that this system suits him to a T. As a coverage guy, 4 interceptions, one which he housed for a pick six last year, and 3 passes defended. Again, that safety background of his is coming into play. He can drop into coverage. He's quite happy going up against these bigger tight ends, these bigger slot receivers, and he can give as good as he gets with them. So he fills all 3 aspects you want of this star linebacker. And for me, Detroit's really going to need a proper coverage linebacker in recent. I know Jack Campbell can do it, but with Anzo probably not been here much longer, no other guys behind him can really do it. We lack one of these type of guys. We lack a star on this team. Dallas uses them to great effect, and I wish we would use them more. So Kyle Louis, he's a 3 threat linebacker, and I absolutely love him. And it's going to be his second full season as a starter, so it is a little raw on that side of things, but I just expect him to keep getting better and better. And while we watch the Backyard Brawl this year, he'll be the name that you're hearing all over that broadcast. So yeah, Kyle Louis is another one massively, massively high on. So looking forward to seeing what he does in his second year as a starter. Who is next? I believe you've got 2 inside linebackers now, right?
Yeah. So my next player is it's Yanni Karlaftis. If you've heard that name before, it's correct. Yep, this is George's little brother. He's Northwestern Wildcats. He is in his senior year, 6'3", 230. Now, they did play on the same team. Like I said, he was also a Purdue Boilermaker when he came out of high school, followed in his brother's footsteps, wanted to carry on there. Had 37 career games for the Boilermakers in the last 2 years, accumulated 112 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks. But this player on the list, I suppose, he doesn't have the production. So he's had bad knees, bad feet, broken fingers. It's basically been a case of the last all his time there has been injury with, like, say, niggling little injuries that hampered him throughout games or injuries that kept him out of games. He took a red shirt. Like I say, he missed all but one of his senior games as high school. So this kid's been played and banged up for years now, and it feels like it's really stunted his growth. Maybe any mixture as well have always been compared to his brother, despite being different positions, trying to live up to Carl after his name. Might have put pressure on him as a struggle, but yeah, things have not worked out ultimately at Purdue. Maybe could have decided to enter the portal after 2 years, but he's decided this year, senior year, that he's going to stay. Yeah, so staying in conference, not gone far. Northwestern Wildcat. This is the second player I've picked that has gone there. This feels like he needed a fresh start. He needed a new scenery. He needed a place where he can kind of get back to basics as a talented player at a position where Northwestern, yeah, they've had a lot of success in recent years. Their linebackers, like say guys like Paddy Fisher, like those long stalwarts they've had that garnered interest at the NFL purely because of how tough they were, how many games they could play, how they were not able to leave the field because they were just physically and leaders. So this feels like one of those moves where I'm happy to see a guy get a fresh start. I hope injuries leave him behind. He's going to a team that is considered one of the lesser forces right now in the Big Ten. They're looking for portal pickups. They do need those reinforcements all over the field. So there are reps, there are starting jobs to be there won. And I think, like I said, the experience Yanni brings right now probably helps him to maybe fill one of those in to have at least one strong year under his belt. I feel like it could be a surprise package this year where he's struggled. He's been in and out of the lineup as a rotational guy in recent years, but I'm still a firm believer that maybe this year he puts it all together and it helps the Wildcats that are in there a sticky transitional period right now. He can be a plaster and he can have a good year under his belt. So yeah, I think he's definitely a name to watch as maybe a low-key portal player that could have a lot of upside. He won't be a household name. He won't be he might make some splash plays, but I think he's the kind of guy right now that just wants to try and get on the field, see production, and maybe have some surprises. Like I say, Wildcats might be out there to try cause a few upsets this year.
Yeah, like I say, I've got one on my team, you've got a Wildcat on your team. This is a team that has good players on it. And you mentioned linebackers from Northwestern there. It rang a bell, and I've actually got my last year's team right next to me here. And there's still a star on that team, Xander Mueller. He was on my team to
Mueller,
watch.
before that, Fisher. I
Yeah,
can think of other guys in Northwestern where they've had long-term middle linebackers
yeah,
for a long time.
but this is Xander Muller's draft year. He's still there. He was literally on my pick team from last year to watch. He's one of their best draft prospects. So Xander Mueller and Yanni Karlaftis, potentially, that's the potential to be one of the best linebacker duos in the Big Ten. So Northwestern have parts to build on. They've got one of the best left tackles in the Big Ten.
Pat
So
Fitzgerald, that's yeah, like I say, guys
yeah,
like that, like I say, super coaches as well.
yeah.
Northwestern have done one thing right in recent years, it's linebackers.
Yeah, yeah, linebackers, tackles. So th there are parts to this team this year. Northwestern, we like to give every team the benefit of the doubt on this show, and we like to big up every team when we can. Northwestern has reason to be optimistic this year. Say Karlaftis and Mueller could be a great pairing at the top of the middle of the defense there. My second guy I've got a theme of coverage linebackers. I like them more than most. We need a coverage linebacker on the lines. I'm looking for Tariq Al-Ukdar from Washington. He is more commonly known as Buddha, not because of his calm demeanor, but he's big and cuddly. But when he's on the field, he is an absolute monster. So he's actually crossed Apple Cup battle lines. He spent the last 2 years at Washington State putting together one of the best resumes of a coverage linebacker in the country. He's racked up 124 tackles, 7 tackles for a loss, 3 forced fumbles, 5 fumble recoveries, 3 picks, one of which was a pick six. He's got 3 pass breakups as well. Like I say, he is one of the best coverage linebackers in the country. You watch how he plays. That Washington State defensively, the linebackers that have come out of that school in recent years, Diane Henley, think about that. Like he was Diane Henley's direct replacement in that program, and he's very much in the same mold. 6 foot, 232 pounds. For me, absolutely great build for your middle linebacker position, but he's just light enough to be able to stick with the coverage bits. He's discovering a blitz threat to his game as well. He got 13 pressures and 3 QB hits last year, which was a new one for him. So he's very versatile playmaker, but first and foremost, he's got the frame to play at your middle linebacker position, but he has the coverage aspect. I mentioned Henley so many times before he got drafted. He's doing well with the Chargers. This guy is in pretty much the same mold. Maybe not quite the elite level athlete that Henley is, but he makes up for that with his ability to blitz the quarterback a little bit better there. So Tariq Alukdar and this Washington team, he's going to be the captain. He's going to be one of the captains, which again for a transfer player is crazy. But that Washington linebacker room, it's been injured really bad the last few years. So he is healthy, he's fit, he's got the leadership skills. He's going to be a central figure on this Huskies defense, and we're expecting the Huskies to do well this year. So for me, if he does show promise as a captain at the Power Four level, this Huskies team gets back to where it wants to, challenging for titles. This is going to be absolutely a big platform to him to work on. He's going to have 3 years as a starter. Maybe he'll spend one more year there, but if I think he has a good year at Washington, he'll go to the draft because coverage linebackers people are crying out for in the NFL right now. So Tariq Alukdar, again, one I'm low key really looking forward to seeing more of this year. But his take from last year is tremendous, so we'll see how he does, especially having crossed Apple Cup battle lines, which is very much frowned upon. So it's going to be interesting when he has to go back to state this year and see what happens. But we ride with that. Who's your third linebacker, Rye?
From one coverage linebacker to another. So I've got Ty Nykamp from the FCS, the Illinois State Redbird, 6'3", 240. He's a redshirt junior and puts himself together a pretty remarkable 2024. 112 tackles, 11 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 4 interceptions, 8 passes defended, a forced fumble in 14 games, started 11 of them at the right linebacker, earned himself 2 Missouri Valley Defensive Player of the Year awards and was all Missouri Valley first team last year. This guy was absolutely everywhere, everything to this team. He had an incredible season. He was, yeah, he's going to be the everything this year. He's going to rally the troops. He's going to call everything he sees. He's so experienced now. He's really grown into his role that guys around him look towards him and he's able to be that extension of a coach's arm on the field. Been there now. He's done it. Like I say, he's won the Mike linebacker job. He's incredibly. Last year was just everything. He's absolutely fantastic in coverage. He's great in route recognition. He's very good at flipping his hips, dropping back into coverage, getting in passing lanes. And then when he's asked to come down in the box, hard, fast, physical, he's able to then do really well. Also, potential blitzes. He got 3 sacks in a year. So people think him as a coverage backer, but he's very comfortable going forwards as he's going backwards. So there are design plays where if you call it at the right time, get him on a stunt or a twist or a blitz off the edge that's delayed, he can get home. He's got the size, the speed, the power to bring down most quarterbacks in the country. So probably one of the best defensive players in all of the FCS right now. I expect that not to change this year. He'll be one of the guys that will be commanding most of the stat sheets this time in a year. And he will then be looking at one of those guys that to be as a pro, he's already got the basics down, a key special teams contributor where he can deliver that hammer blow and then able to use those coverage skills, which is such a high coveted trait now that for most linebackers in the NFL have got to play. If you get that down as a collegiate level, you're already kind of got a step on some of the guys right now. So definitely one of the more veteran presences to look at going forward to be in the next draft cycle. Plenty of all-star game attention, and he's now on the Buck Buchanan Award watch this year, which is one of the best defensive and best linebacker players. So he's going to be on that shortlist this year. So he's definitely garnering a lot of attention this year and should go out with a bang.
And the Redbirds have sent a lot of talent out recently to the power conferences and to the draft. So yeah, keep an eye there. Tiny Camp, Illinois State. And then the last guy I've got, Colby Fields out of Louisiana Tech. And again, this was another one who had talked about at length when we were doing the group of five shows. He was one of the players one of the players I highlighted out there. And this guy, it's more to do with his story coming through and the mental resilience he showed. But he started off at South Carolina 1 year, didn't work out. Went to LSU 1 year, didn't work out. Both teams essentially told him he wasn't good enough to play football. He was never going to make it. And so he moved down to the group of five, went to Louisiana Tech, but he got pinged because he transferred twice in 2 seasons just before that rule was brought out of effect. And so he had to sit his entire first year at Louisiana Tech and watch as their defense got absolutely marmalized and was one of the worst in the country, especially against the run. It was the second worst rushing defense in the country whilst he was sat there. And for a guy who'd been told no by 2 teams and had to sit for a year, would have broken many players and, they wouldn't have recovered from that or even been able to really get their career up and going. But last year, just such a tremendous turnaround. He was one of the best run defending linebackers in the country because he just hit, he hits so hard. He's got great frame that you want from his 6'2", about 230 pounds. Yeah, he graded up at nearly 90 in his run defense. But as a tackler, 71 tackles on the year, 9 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks, showed pass rush upside. He had a pick, a pass defended. He's shown that he can do little bits of coverage work as well. And he was a captain on that team. Again, he'd sat for a year and done nothing, and he maintains the presence in the middle of that field to command the attention of everyone else. He was captain, and they went from giving up about 232 yards rushing per game to 116. They basically split it in half. The turnaround was sensational. They were one of the best. They were the top 30 in the nation, if I remember rightly, in terms of overall defense. And that was everything. Run defense, pass defense, red zone defense, and it all ran through him. He's completely changed the culture there. in terms of a grit player who's overcome as much adversity as could be thrown at him, he's right at the top of that list. He's staying at Louisiana Tech despite having the great, he's repaying the faith they've shown in him. Maybe he'll have a fifth year in the Power Four if he has a good one this year, but in terms of run defending linebackers and a guy who could come straight to the NFL from the group of five, I just know he's got the mental resilience to be able to fight his way onto a roster, fight his way into a team like Malcolm Rodriguez did. Kind of reminds me of him a little bit in a way there, but I just fallen in love with his story and the player himself, and I have absolutely no doubt that he's going to prove people wrong again this year. So, Colby Fields, out of Louisiana Tech, again, just really looking forward to seeing this guy play this year. And right up there in terms of group of five prospects at linebacker, if I'm looking for the Lions, he's the first. Got a couple of groups to go now. We've got the corners. We've got a pair apiece here, right? So why don't you start us off? Who do you have at corner? I know this is one of your personal favorites.
So cornerback, first one I've got Takerio Davis. So the Washington Husky, entering his senior year, 6'4", 200 pounds. Second team All Big Ten in 2024 and a Jim Thorpe semi-finalist award 2024. That was a Arizona Wildcat. So in 3 seasons, he racked up an interception, 22 passes defended and 75 tackles. Now, before the season, January 2024, entered the portal, but he pulled his name out in April just before spring, decided that he was going to see out his junior year as a Wildcat. After the season, decided that he could have well entered the draft, and a lot of people had him on draft boards. He was one of the he was up there with the corner rankings, but he decided that instead he got a potential lucrative offer from the Huskies. So he was 24/7's number 2 cornerback in the portal, and he was the 32nd highest ranked overall player in the portal with a 4-star ranking. So this guy had a lot of offers. He could have gone to most teams in the country as a veteran corner with his size and strength. So he's already played in 30 games with over 1,400 snaps to his name. So someone that has decided to forego going as an underclassman, see out his senior year. He's joining a defense that, yeah, they sent a lot of players to the draft, including corners. The Huskies know how to do defensive players. Like I say, they've got a good, strong unit there. It's a fantastic place to play in, a great crowd, and it's a good place for him to just put that last bit of bow to tape on him. So yeah, he was a crucial player to a struggling Wildcats team. He was a fan favorite in Tucson for a number of seasons, merely because of how well this guy can tackle. 6'4", 200 pounds, shies away from no man. Like he's got great technique. He keeps his head out of plays. He comes down well. He takes really good angles, and he uses all of that frame to bring down guys from any positions. He is very good when it comes to players close to the line of scrimmage. He uses every bit of what, say, God has given him. He's blessed. 22 career passes defended. He's very good in coverage. He's got long hands. He's got, I mean, long arms, big hands. He uses every bit of that frame for those contested balls to go up and disrupt players. So someone that's got all the physical tools. In the last couple of years, he's got smarter. He's got better at working out how to use those tools that he's been given. So right now he's a very good and he could be a great player this year. I think he's a good pickup for a Washington team that he's trying to get back to where it was a couple of years ago. So he went out there and got one of the biggest high profile defensive recruits they could. And yeah, it's time for, like I say, to him to live up to his billing. He's been on teams that have not really had expectations and done really well. Now I expect him to, like I say, take that next step when the spotlight's a little bit brighter on him now. Like, it's a big Paul name. With that comes pressure, and it's a team right now that they should feel some pressure. Like I said, the Huskies are a big program, and they want to get back to competing where they were. And I expect getting this guy out of the portal is one step closer to where they want to be. And I think this time next year, we're talking about it was like a top 10 in the cornerback class.
Yeah, I mean, I think before the injury, he was up there as one of the top prospects, wasn't he? So it's just about showing the fitness and showing that your skill hasn't diminished, but certainly one of the best in the country. And then my first guy, so I've got three true sophomores in my secondary here. It's very young and not going to the draft soon, but this is the one who will be. And he's one of the most disrespected corners in the country. So I've got D'Angelo Pons from Indiana. Now, you'll just have to excuse me a minute because for the last few DBs, my notes are on my computer and not in my book as I've been using for this. So I just need to quickly stop sharing screen so I can go and get my notes on him so I can give you the proper rundown. But I love D'Angelo Pons, 5'9", 170 pounds. He is another one of Kurt Signetti's ride or dies from his James Madison days. He is only a true junior this year, but he's already played in 26 games. He's got 22 starts. He is as seasoned as some fourth year guys are, and he is one of the best pure coverage corners you will find in college football. Over his 2 years, he's got 92 tackles, sorry, 105 tackles. His missed tackle rate is less than 8%, which for such a young corner is tremendous. 40 run stops. He's only given up 62 receptions on 126 targets. He's been targeted 126 times as a youngster. Teams go after him and they don't learn. It's a 49% reception against him. He's got 5 interceptions, 17 pass breakups. And he's incredibly sticky when it comes to his coverage. For someone who's 5'9" and 170 and undersized, there are very few receivers who are able to get the best of him. He will take on all comers. He will take on your big prototype X receivers. He'll take on your nifty slot receivers. Doesn't matter where you play him. And the physical aspect of his game for someone so small as well is just so intriguing to me. What Kurt Signetti does, he plays him up at the line of scrimmage quite a lot compared. He's got over 160 snaps up at the line of scrimmage when they want someone to come up to deal with the screen plays, or they want to blitz him a little bit as well. Like they bring him up. He's very physical. He's the first guy into the scrum. He'll take on blockers very willingly. He uses his smaller size to slip blocks and blow up plays there. And they'll bring him up against the run, which again, for his size, you would not expect. He is one of the best corners for me in college football. And people look at the size and they say, that's a no-goer. Just miss me with it. In terms of a coverage guy, you'll not find anyone better. He plays on the perimeter. It's not like he plays in at the slot. He's an outside corner. He doesn't play in the slot there. You leave him on an island on his own, he wins, and he will always win. It's just, yeah, he's tremendous. I love D'Angelo Pons. If he comes to the draft this year, he's also going to be very young. You can put some poundage on that frame. So it's, you want to move him up to 180, that's absolutely fine. Doesn't really matter. The 5'9" you're going to work with, but he'll have versatility at the next level. I love D'Angelo Pons. Just every bit about him on this Indiana team is tremendous. He's one of the best players on that team, and people will just disrespect him from his size, but don't. Watch him very closely this year. You'll struggle to find someone better in coverage at the corner position than Pons. So yeah, he's the veteran in the room for me, as they say. So I'm looking forward to him. Like Takario, a lot to prove, but he'll be up there with the top prospects if he does. Who have you got next, Riot Corner?
So this guy, this guy's got nothing to prove because he's been there, done it, and worn the t-shirts. This is Jalen Jones from the William and Mary tribe in the FCS. They play in the Colonial Athletic Association. 6 foot, 195 pounds, senior. So first team All-American pre-season by 6 different organizations, like say that do their write-ups this year. Last year he led the entire country in passes defended and passes broken up. He had 22 passes defended and broke up physically 20 receptions last year. The guy's an absolute menace when it comes to disrupting guys and getting his hands in making the plays. He's also been selected to the East West Shrine Bowl 1000 for his honours last year. 2024 had a outstanding. He was one of the best corners in all of football last year. 48 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 20 interceptions, 22 passes defended, 20 breakups, 2 forced fumbles, and a fumble recovery. He did absolutely everything. This guy is a ball magnet when it comes to keeping up with receivers, meeting them at the point of the ball meets and getting his hands in there and making sure that either he comes away with the ball or no one does. He's so good at understanding how to be just enough physical without drawing too many flags. He's very handsy, he's very aggressive, but he rides that line incredibly well and is someone that is just a nightmare to play against. Not to mention that he's got to go up against the likes of Richmond, Delaware, Villanova, New Hampshire, some of the passing powerhouses of the FCS and the CAA. He has to go up against them multiple times a year, and he's come out of the other side standing big, standing tall. This year, he doesn't need to prove anything. He just needs to back it up and needs to just stand on the numbers and prove that he's one of the best defensive backs in the country this year. This guy, if he does that, will have absolutely no doubt that he will be getting so many workouts and private team meetings this time next year when he declares and he goes into as a graduate player. He will get tons of interest at the combine, everyone, because the numbers he's put up. Right, so we've seen a number of small school corners in recent years garner a lot of buzz at this time this year, and this guy will be no different to that. And he's already got a tremendous resume and amount of work behind him right now. So he's just going to look to substantiate it this year. Someone that you're going to hear a lot about, and when you check the stats tables at the end of the year, he's probably going to be up there pretty high nationally.
And the Lions love their tribe as well. So, definitely keep an eye on Jalen Jones there, the corner out of William and Mary. And then the second corner I've got, this is the start of my run of true sophomores. And there is honestly some incredibly exciting talent coming through in college football now from young guys who have just been asked to do so much so early in their careers and has absolutely thrived. And this particular one has got a big move to the Big 12 this year. And I'm talking about Amarian Fortenberry from Kansas State. Now, Fluff Bothwell was not the only true freshman who made waves on the South Alabama Jaguar teams of last year. This kid, Fortenberry, went completely under the radar. Like, he didn't get anywhere near as much love as Bothwell did in the run game. But what's so impressive about him is so much they've asked him to do early in his career. So, as a true freshman last year, he played in all 13 games. He started 7 games in that period. And not only did he play as an outside corner, but he also played as a Husky as well, which is their version of the nickel safety. They asked him to do a lot, and in terms of how he did for the year, so couple of QB pressures in there, but 50 tackles, just a 10% missed tackle rate for a true freshman, which is tremendous. 11 run stops. He had a forced fumble in there. He gave up 33 receptions on 53 targets. It's 62%, but for a true freshman playing all over, not really that bad. 2 interceptions, 5 pass breakups, only got penalized once all year as well, and he posted a run defense grade above 80. And when you're playing teams last year, they played against LSU, they played against Troy, they played against Marshall, they played against Georgia Southern. Some of these guys have really good run-based attacks. They played away at App State. Um, he's just had an absolutely tremendous first year. He's 5'10", 175 pounds. So he's another who's in the undersized category, let's say, but they've entrusted him with a lot. He plays on the outside perimeter. He doesn't play on the inside. He's another one of these feisty youngsters. And he's going to go to a Kansas State team, which has just sent, and I keep forgetting his name. Who was the corner who just came out? They sent 2 corners to the draft this year, just gone. I cannot remember his name. I keep missing it. But yeah, Fontenberry or Fortenberry, he's going to be the new sensation there at Kansas State. He's got 3 years of eligibility left. He's got all the time in the world to turn into one of the premier cornerbacks in college football. And if he carries on at the rate he is, and I've watched him play, the feet are smooth, the hips are great, his coverage, the tracking is really good. Just a few youthful mistakes in there. A couple of the more savvy guys pulled a couple of moves on him. He's going to learn. Every young is going to get burnt every now and then. But in terms of the all-round game you saw and everything they asked of him, for him to play outside and then come in at the nickel safety spot as well, they put a lot on his plate. When guys can do that so early in the career, you really take notice of them because, they're for real. So, Amarian Fortenberry, he is my second corner on the list. And as they won, but watching that K-State team, we'll see them in Ireland in a couple of weeks' time. So you'll get to look at him first and foremost, right up close and personal. We'll move it on to the safeties. I'll start with you, Rye. Who is your safety that you've got?
I imagine people by now are probably concerned, oh, Ryan's not named a Sun Devil yet. There must be something wrong. Well, I'm saving the best till last. And yeah, he is one of the best players in the country. So Xavier Alford, Arizona State Sun Devils, redshirt senior, 6 foot, 200 pounds. So he played the fourth most coverage snaps in the Big 12 at 354 and allowed only 7 catches on the year. That was the seventh fewest in the FBS for all defensive backs that played more than 250 coverage snaps last year. So he was tremendous in coverage. He was the 27th highest graded safety in overall defense by the PFF FBS metric with 80.5, and he was 21st highest graded in safety and coverage of 85.8. He was recorded of having just missed 4 tackles on the entire year. Now, of all DBs, or let's say defenders last year that played more than 400 total snaps, that put him as 16th fewest in the FBS. He was absolutely clutch with, like, say, a 2% missed tackle rate. So on 2024 year, he had 85 tackles, 5 passes defended, and 2 interceptions. This guy played everywhere. He did everything that was asked for him by the Arizona State Sun Devils. He moves around like a chess piece in between those corner in the slot to the rover, the bandit, the stars, the truth, the strong safety, a fresh safety. Like I say, he's incredibly good tackler. He's tremendous in coverage. He's such a well-rounded chess piece that he doesn't really have a position. He's just a floater, but he's incredibly effective. This year's going to be big because his running mate, Shamari Simmons, has graduated, got picked up into the NFL. Like I say, he did really good last year. They were one of the best tandems in the country, but now he's going to have to kind of do 2 guys' work. But that puts him on chance to prove that he is the go-to guy on the back end, especially in the Big 12 and the Power 4. He will be statistically one of the best safeties in the country this year. And he just wants to hope that it wasn't a one-time thing making it to the playoffs. Like I say, he had to play that whole first game against Texas with no Simmons, as you said. He was ejected, Vic and Rocco Becht. So he had to do that all on his own. He was had a stern test going up against one of the best offenses in the country last year. And yeah, he proved, like I said, that he's got a lot of metal and he could fill that hole well. And he put himself in a very, he did himself proud, especially in that playoff game, despite that defense being picked upon in the first half. They came back strong in the second half. But yeah, right now, this guy is one of the veteran leaders of a team that is probably got one of the hype teams right now. They're riding the crest of a wave, and this guy has got a lot to like. I think he's got a great chance of having his name called fairly early this time next year. He's someone that I say will go in as rotational depth as a safety piece, but will make plays at the next level. His tackling is tremendous. He takes very good angles. He doesn't miss many steps. When he comes down, he wraps up, he brings them down first time wherever possible. And in grades, coverage, like I said, all the grades check out. Very productive. Doesn't get all the turnovers, but he's always in the right place to make the play. If at worst, make the tackle, end it there and then. He does all the basics very well. He's strong, he's physical, he's got a good frame, and he's playing for a program right now that, yeah, he's doing a good job of getting guys into the next level. Had a slew of draft picks coming out of Tempe in recent years. It's becoming a bit of a hot spot, like I said, and getting a lot of scouts there. And this will be a guy this year that is going to bow out on a high. He's going to be one of the best defensive backs in the Big 12, one of the best safeties, I think, in the country when all is said and done. He's a really good player that I personally would like to add an next level. Like I say, if you're looking for that blend of great tackling, but also very sticky coverage for a guy that kind of just floats around, then this is going to be one of your guys to watch this year.
Yeah, I begrudgingly admit he is excellent. You know, one of the best safety tandems last year. I'm looking forward to seeing how he does this year. Like so, Xavier Alford, you've got from Arizona State. Of course, there was always going to be a Sun Devil on Ryan's team there. And then for my two safeties, I'm going to put them both out here. And again, I'll put the screen down so I can go and get my stats for them. But the first one. I mean, we're talking DBs, and there's one school that this particular podcast loves when it comes to its DBs, and this guy's going to be the next big thing coming out of there. Not this year, but certainly maybe the year after. Of course, we're going to talk about the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, and they've got a very good safety emerging on their roster. Kaj Sanders. gonna be the next big thing on that team. And so he's another true sophomore. Mentioned like there's three of these guys I've got on this list. The other one is played all 13 games for Rutgers last year, started six as a true freshman. He started the first game of the season. He is only the second ever defender under Greg Schiano's tenure there to start his first game that he could possibly play for the team. He is their starting strong safety, but he plays all over and you know the grades don't read anything spectacular in year one, but 42 tackles. There was a 20% missed tackle rate, but one of those things you would expect. Five run stops in there, but the coverage is where he really stands out. He was targeted 21 times. He gave up eight receptions. That is a measly 38% receptions against him. He had three pass breakups to go with that as well. And they use him all over. So, as I say, strong safety is his preferred position, but they've also played him a little bit at free safety. He even plays a little bit in the nickel corner role as well. So, again, one of these guys who's a lot asked of him, and he's 6'1, 195 pounds. So, he is the absolute perfect frame that you want for this kind of do it all secondary play you're going to put out there. And, you know, as we know with Rutgers, right, these guys, time after time after time, we see Rutgers DBs in the draft every year. And, you know, this guy played 515 snaps as a true freshman last year. Didn't really look out of place. Put up some numbers you'd expect a true freshman to, but it's one of the pipelines you trust implicitly. And also, one penalty last year. Like, the kid's a stud in coverage. He's very disciplined. Like, you were not going to bet against him at all. Been another big DB out of Rutgers for the draft.
No, it makes sense that Rutgers have got great coaching, like say Robert Longerbeam, you got Max Melton, recent guys that they've got to the pro level in just the last 2, 3 years that have garnered a lot of interest. Like I say, they've had a lot of guys on their roster that are really good. This kid, like say Newark, New Jersey, so he's in that kind of area. It makes sense of a school that does really well at its position. And yeah, they saw something in him. They gave him a chance as a true freshman to try and make an impact as a rotational guy. He did a good job of that. Like I say, you always get those eagerness, you always say, but he kept the penalties to a minimum, just a solo one. The future is very bright for that program. This kid, yeah, like I say, they eased him in last year, but it feels like this year, like handbrakes are going to be taken off pretty quickly. And I think he's going to do really well. Like I say, you learn on the job at positions like safety and corner. Yeah, I have full faith this kid will do well. And like I say, I like Rutgers. Like I say, a team that prides itself on yeah, we may not get the wins, we may not be super competitive, but yeah, you come here, you get pro ready. Like I say, you work with the best potential coaches.
Yeah, they got really good junior safeties. So I can't remember his name, but these two are going to be one of the pairings to watch out for this year. So, yeah, Kaj Sanders, the latest in Rutgers DBs coming through the system. And then the other one I've got, and again, another true sophomore going into this year. So I've got Jamali Riddle from the East Carolina Pirates. And now this guy is very exciting at the Group of Five level. 6 foot, 182 pounds. Another strong safety, but another guy who was asked a lot of last year. So he played predominantly in the box as a strong safety, but he played 170 snaps at free safety as well. He played 61 times in the slot at corner. This is another guy, 550 snaps as a true freshman. His run defense grade was up at 75. You know, the ACC, especially when you came up against Army last year on the road, you came up against Navy last year on the road. You came up against Liberty last year. You came up against App State. You came up against some very good rushing teams last year, and you really stood out in those games. And again, for someone who is so versatile in this one, his coverage for a safety is something that's a bit next level as well. It's even better than what Carl Sanders is at this moment in time. East Carolina, they've got some seriously good talent on this team. They've hemorrhaged some, but this year going into year two, I think they're going to continue with him at the strong safety, but they're going to continue just to move him around and find the best matchups. At 6 foot 182, you've got the perfect frame again that you want from this type of guy, and you're going to find, you know, the issues. 19% missed tackle rate, yeah, that's fine. You expect it from your youngsters, but 21 run stops. He loves to get involved. Three interceptions and five pass breakups. Only giving up 60% on his targets as well, which for a safety is low, especially for true freshman safety. Like these numbers just don't very often see from these guys. This is the next generation of guys coming through the system who are really going to impress. And I know the East Carolina, that team really seems to do well. They may not come directly from the draft there, right? But again, they draft and develop really well themselves. But Jamali Riddle is another of these young safeties coming through who are just, the world's their oyster at the moment.
Yeah. I feel like the growing trend of, like, say, emerging talent at a position right now that it's my favorite position in football. I love safety. And right now, the best teams in the NFL and the best teams in college have the best safeties, or they go out and get some of the best safeties they can because it's such an important position right now, and it's one where you can really do a good job of making your name. So yeah, it is another exciting prospect. Like I said, it's a school as well that yeah, it's in that it's competing with all, like I say, its bigger brothers in Carolina, but it does a good job to keep talent in, like I say, gold and purple, and they are very competitive there. So yeah, it's going to be another one where I look forward to seeing how they do when these kids go on to bigger and brighter things.
Yeah, Carl Sanders, Jamali Riddle, big futures for the pair of them, but really establish themselves well as true freshmen and just looking to see what their expedited growth is like this year. Hopefully both of them are able to do so. And then I'm just finishing off. I have one DB because that's how the preseason one works. You have a DB, and it's not often that I put traitors in my teams because I'm generally too hurt by them. But there's one going in this year, and it's a team I'm actually going to watch closely because we've been very hard on them over the years, but the USC defense has been pretty good recently. It's Lincoln Riley's offenses, which for some reason have been letting him down. And they landed a major coup this offseason when they took Bishop Fitzgerald from the NC State Wolfpack. Much to my chagrin, he is such a good player. And we talk about guys who play all over the field. He was such a vital part of our defense. So 5'11", 198 pounds. This is probably going to be his draft year. We've had him for the last 2 years. He's played 1,262 snaps for us. He's so good against the run. He's just one of those big free hitting strong safety. I mean, he plays both, to be fair. He mixed free and strong safety. He plays all over the box. So he's got 342 snaps in the box, 654 at free safety, 252 at the slot. Wherever we needed him to play in the secondary, he would play for us. Doesn't do much rushing the passer, but we don't need him to. 117 tackles, just a 14% missed tackle rate, which is good. 28 run stops, a forced fumble, only gives up 60% in coverage, but he's got 5 interceptions and 9 pass breakups over the last 2 years. He's only been penalized 3 times, and he was one of our best defenders last year. And wherever USC want to plug and play him, he'll go. He'll quite happily do it. And I really like him, and just because he's gone from the team, I can't not like him. But he's another of these hybrid safety types who just seem to be emerging more. And as I say, the tackling was good. It was down at 11% his missed tackle rate last year. It was so much better, and I was really hoping that he'd be able to see out this year with us before going to the draft. But he wants to go to USC. It's going to be they're hoping for a big bounce back year. If they do well, he's going to play in a lot of big games. He's going to look absolutely tremendous. Yeah, Bishop Fitzgerald. I'm really sad he's not with the Wolfpack anymore, but begrudgingly, I'm still going to say he is a tremendous player, and I will keep an eye out very closely because whether you're only there 1 year or several years, I always want the Wolfpack to succeed more than Florida State. Anyhow, so that is everybody. We're just going to recap the list. I'll just get it back up on the screen share again so we can go through it all. So I don't know. I think we've got there's a lot of talent on here, right? Our quarterbacks. So we got Rocco Becht of Iowa State and Aiden Bauman of South Dakota. The running backs, you've got Hollywood Smothers from NC State, Dawson Pendergrass from Baylor, and Cam Edwards from UConn. Receivers, you've got Chase Sowell of Iowa State, Reggie Virgil of Texas Tech, Lewis Bond of Boston College, and Marquise Buchanan of Rhode Island. Tight ends, you've got Tanner Koziel from Houston and Alex Bauman from the Miami, Florida Hurricanes. Offensive line, you've got Connor Liu of Auburn at center, Kalen Rutledge of Georgia Tech and Daniel King of UNC at guard, and Lawan Owens from Cal and Caleb Tiernan from Northwestern at tackle. On the defense, the line, you've got Mikhail Kamara, the edge from Indiana. You've got Aaron Greaves, the D tackle from Iowa. Antony Smith, the hybrid from Minnesota. And Gabe Kirsch, the edge from Wake Forest. Your linebackers, you got Andrew Zock from Mercer. Kyle Louis from Pittsburgh. Tariq Al-Ukdar from Washington. Yanni Karlaftis from Northwestern. Colby Fields from Louisiana Tech. And Ty Niekamp from Illinois State. Corners, you got D'Angelo Pons from Indiana, Takario Davis from Washington, and Marion Fortenberry from Kansas State, and Jalen Jones from William and Mary. Then your safeties, there's four of them essentially. Kaj Sanders from Rutgers, Jamali Riddle from East Carolina, Xavier Alfred from Arizona State, and Bishop Fitzgerald from USC. So that is the list. These are the guys me and Ram will be watching especially closely this year. And it's my favorite time doing these lists, right? Because again, you look at them and you're just like, there's so many players you're looking forward to seeing this year.
Yeah. Players like I say that that just get overlooked because a lot of these teams here have just got so many bigger names on them that I say that it's just easy to get distracted by the flashier guys or the bigger names, like I say, where some of these teammates just don't get any of the love that they deserve. So yeah, it's nice to shine a light on some of them.
So one question to finish off: who, if any of them, who's the one you look at and you're like, slap bang star, he's definitely gonna do it? Who's the one you really throw your weight behind of your guys?
Uh, Dawson Pendergrass.
Baylor running back.
Yeah, I think he's gonna have a monster year.
I'm with you. I'm going to stick with a running back. I think Hollywood Smothers is going to be absolutely amazing for NC State this year, and people are going to be salivating over his performances when he's done. But in fairness, I'm looking forward to seeing every one of these guys. It's good fun. So we will let you know through the season how they're getting on. No doubt, if some of them are doing well, we will very gleefully tell you they are doing well as we do there. So let us just get off of that and back to me and Ryan. So yeah. That is everything for today. Our pre-season watch list teams. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. You've learned some new names to keep an eye out for this year, or you've listened to us for a long time and you already know about them and carry on looking for them. But it's good fun. 23 days to go. We get college football back. I can't wait. In terms of next shows, the Main Lines podcast will be back. Actually, it'll be back tomorrow because it is the preseason game. We're playing the Hall of Fame game against the LA Chargers. So Matt and Ash, as always, will be calling that one live. So, make sure to stop by and support the guys there because, it's preseason game. So more time than any go in, give them support. It's Benetti's calling, but these two guys are pretty good as well. And then obviously the main podcast will be back, going through the highlights of the Hall of Fame game, taking takeaways from that, etc. on the Monday. And then me and Ryan, of course, will be back in a week, and I'm not sure exactly what we'll be doing. We're getting close to predictions time, which is daunting because I've got no good predictions this year, which I feel safe about. But as always, if there's anything you want us to do before the season starts, before we get all into the nitty-gritty of the games, anything specific, let us know. We will, of course, do that for you there. You find us all over at ROTL UK, all that good stuff. So just type it in, you will find us. Anything else you want to quickly mention before we get out of here, Ryan?
Uh, I mean, tomorrow scares me. I want to wrap everyone in. Yeah, frankly, I don't want to play the game at all. I'd just rather wrap everyone in cotton wool.
Echoing the feeling of many a Lions fan out there. Just don't play them all. Let them get to the season healthy, and let's take it from there on. But yeah, it's good fun. It's just going to be good to have Lions football back. And I say we've got soccer back at the weekend. We've got a lot of sport to look forward to. I say 3 weeks and college is back. That is the main one. We are nearly there. Thank you to everyone who's joined in this evening. Again, it
Also,
has.
now I've seen some people's like playoff predictions, like say that, yeah, I don't feel so bad about making predictions now. We can be a bit more out there because, yeah,
Yeah,
there's some interesting takes.
there are some
Yeah.
interesting
Someone
takes.
said
Well,
LSU were winning the national title.
Yeah, we'll have to do some playoff brackets coming up soon. We'll make that as part of our prediction show. But yeah, I am just not sure in the slightest. So it's going to be fun. There's going to be a lot of very wrong answers in there, but hopefully some right ones as well. But yeah, appreciate you, right? Thanks ever so much as always. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you again very soon. Just remains me thank you and one pride.